This week's Game of the Week features the number 14th ranked Penn State Nittany Lions traveling to Alabama to play the top-ranked and defending national champion Alabama Crimson Tide. Both teams come in undefeated. And what is Joe Paterno's 625th year coaching the Nittany Lions? Or so it seems. He's an ageless wonder. Before Mr. Molino and I get into our game analysis, we took our cameras out to the student body and faculty to find out what they had to say about this week's game.
Penn State travels to Tuscaloosa, Alabama this weekend to take on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Jake, who do you think is going to win?
I think Penn State will 28-16.
Why?
Because Joe Paul wears high socks.
What about you, Tyler?
I'm going to go with Alabama on this one. I think the score is going to be 21-7 because they got the home field advantage this week.
I believe that if Penn State sticks to their game plan and they play hard, they will. They'll get a win against Alabama. But Alabama's defense is really tough, so we'll see how it goes. But I got Penn State on this one.
Penn State's gonna win. What do you think, Devin?
Penn State all the way.
Score. Score. Oh. 48-21. That's the score.
Penn State, Alabama, what can you say? Traditional matchup. It seemed for years they played, and they have not played each other since 1990. A Penn State 9-0 victory over Alabama. Hard to believe that it's been 20 years, but it has.
Wow. It's great to see these two teams playing each other once again. I've heard this a lot, and I guess I agree with it. Penn State, Alabama. Alabama to me is the Penn State of the South. Both teams are physical, they're prepared, and they're poised. You will not see a lot of mistakes made from an Alabama team coached by Nick Saban or a Joe Paterno coached Penn State Nittany Lion team. It's going to be great.
I think it is too. It's great for college football, but I think there's a decided advantage in this game personally. Penn State's coming in with the freshman quarterback making his second start, going up against a very vaunted defensive football team. Nick Saban, known for his defense every place he's been, from Michigan State to the Cleveland Browns to LSU, now obviously at Alabama. I think the freshman coming in is going to show some poise early on, but I think he lacks big game maturity. And there's something to be said about that. Regardless of what type of an athlete you are, it's very difficult to go into the surroundings and settings of Bryant-Denny Stadium, 90,000 plus people who are rabid football fans and intelligent football fans. Couple that with a very sound defensive scheme, a team that doesn't make a lot of mistakes, as you said. And to me, it's not going to matter whether Ingram or the defensive tackle can play, whether he's eligible or not. Bama just has too much all around the board. If it were last year, I think it would be an absolute dandy. But Penn State's lost quite a bit in too many key areas for me for them to pull the upset. So I'm going to cut right to the chase and say Bama wins this one and wins this one fairly big by the end.
Well, of course, this is a week of heart for me. I'm going to go back to last year's game between Alabama and Tennessee, where I thought, as a Tennessee fan, there was no way the Vols had a shot at beating Alabama. But again, it is a rivalry game. Tennessee, Alabama, the best come out when those two play. Saying that, I think Penn State has the coaching staff and the know-how to keep this game close. And if they can keep it close, Penn State will kick the field goal at the end and win the ball game. They're going to have the freshman quarterback prepared. I am worried about them stopping Alabama's running game. This is a total heart pick. But if they can play keep away a little bit from Alabama, keep it close, I think they can win it in the fourth quarter. I just can't pick Alabama, is really what it boils down to. My brains are saying Alabama all the way. My heart's saying Penn State. This is going to be a huge week of upsets in college football. At least I hope, or I'll look like a fool. Anyhow, I'm picking Penn State.
And I understand your pick. I respect it. I just don't agree with it. One of the things you also need to know is Penn State, with Joe Paterno, has struggled against Alabama, one of the few teams that he has a losing record against. 4-8 against the Crimson Tide over the years. He has not fared well. And excuse me, I gave you the wrong stat there. He's 4-8 against teams ranked #1 in the country. And he does have a losing record overall against Alabama in the years that he's played them. I just can't see a freshman quarterback going in there and winning the football game. Penn State doesn't have enough of weapons. I don't see it as a blowout. Joe Paterno's teams are well coached. They're fundamentally sound. They'll play hard with a lot of pride, and it'll be close. Maybe close for 4 quarters, but in the end, I think Bama pulls away and wins. That's all for this week on SWTV's College Football Show. You have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves, and Mr. Molino and I will see you back next week.
Score!